Liverpool 3, Nottingham Forest 2, and Liverpool's top four hopes are just about hanging on a thread. A very, very boring first half, one that put me to sleep, just like Henderson. Second half, wow, wow, one of those games when it's second half. It was a completely different game to the first half. A double by Diogo Jota, a newfoundly confident Diogo Jota, a guy that hadn't scored in over a year, scoring 4 and 2, and Mohamed Salah, the king of Egypt, to put us back in the lead and give us that goal that we need right now. The goal not just the game itself we need in this season. And there's very slim hopes of top four, but there is slim hopes. Riga, give me our initial reaction to that game.
What a roller coaster second half there. First half, as you mentioned, kind of boring. Liverpool holding on to, at times, 85% of the possession. Not really causing too much danger to Keylor Navas. Second half started off with a bang. Jota scoring in the 47th minute. But then promptly followed up by Nico Williams' deflected shot coming off a throw-in, which will be a huge topic today, discussing throw-ins in our defense to tie at 1-1. And from there, as we saw, we went up 2-1. They tied again, 2-2, another deflection, until King Mo put us up 3-2 for the final count of 3-2. Definitely a roller coaster. Would have expected us after that initial goal in the second half to kind of run away with it based on how we were playing and dominating, and I figured that opened up the floodgates for us to score, but they made it a little too difficult for a Saturday, but very happy to come away with a win. And as you mentioned, we're only 6 points behind Newcastle now with a game in hand for that fourth place, and things are looking good. Things are looking good. Very positive after today's match.
As you said, mate, we came away with a win, and that's all that matters at this time of the season. We've got 7 cup finals left, and that's what we need to focus on. Game at a time. Whatever happens, happens. You know, I think a lot of us give up on top 4 quite a while ago. So to say it's out of sight, it's not. But it's a very slim chance, and like I said at the beginning of the stream, you know, a slim chance is better than no chance in it. So we're going to go into the first half. Boring, absolutely boring. I mean, I actually fell asleep. I nearly fell asleep. I know Henderson did fall asleep in the second half, but I nearly fell asleep in the first half. I had to pinch myself a couple of times to keep me going. What was going on then in the second half? Was that Nottingham Forest just defending very well, or Liverpool just being shit?
For the first half, they were just sitting very, very deep. A lot of side-to-side passing on our end. As I mentioned before, we controlled the entire first half as far as possession-wise. From the onset, I felt they were trying to man-mark Trent a little bit, kind of close us down, limit his creativity from what we saw in the Leeds match. That I'm sure they came with that in mind, trying to limit Trent. And, you know, he definitely didn't hit 127 passes today, but played a pivotal role in the new offensive formation. So again, as you said, pretty boring because again we control possession, but not really causing any trouble on goal. So no real clear-cut chances on the offensive end. So it wasn't boring for me, just for the simple fact I like boring. I miss having boring matches on the Liverpool end where we could grind out these wins and not concede in the first 15 minutes as we did in the beginning of the season. So I'll kind of take these boring matches to kind of close out the year, as long as they end up in a win, of course.
I mean, you just made a good point there with the fact that we conceded first every time for quite a while, didn't we? It went like a 12, 13 game streak it was. And now we seem to be just getting that sort of control in the first half, which is good. But like today, when it didn't work, and again against Leeds, first half a little bit tiresome. We seem to be just turning up in the second half. Is that just because we're trying to control the game so much, or is that something else?
I think the reason why we're taking us a while to get into our groove, multifaceted. I think for example, we're still playing Henderson. And Henderson, unfortunately, we have some good offensive movements, and it gets to him, and then boom, lose possession, or silly pass, or plays it back instead of continuing the movements there, and passing it and putting players in the right position. So I think that's kind of what's hindering us at that point. And again, it's getting us, since this is a new setup. I think the players are still getting more comfortable in the spots that they need to be in. So with that, there is some hesitation, and I think for a player just like we got saved today by Diogo Jota, he's a player also that kind of needs time to get into a match. I don't think he's been a quick starter as well, and since we're kind of focusing on him and going through our dangerous pieces through him, I think it's causing a little bit of a delay in getting us on track. But well, very surprising to me. And again, you said Henderson fell asleep a couple of times there in the second half. He's been playing the entirety of these matches and just continues starting all of these. I know we're on a winning run right now. We haven't felt the defeat in a number of matches, but I think he's being overplayed. And I think I would have liked to see Gakpo in his position once Darwin came on. I would have liked to see Hendo come out as opposed to straight 1-for-1 swap with Darwin and Gakpo.
I'm gonna go on to the midfield problems and what we do about it. I won't say the summer. I don't want to really talk about transfers after that. But there's a clear problem there in midfield, and we saw in this game itself that there's a lack of creativity from anything in midfield until Thiago comes on. But I want to talk about the second half now. Early goal, Diogo Jota. It was attacking, but that's what he's best at. He's a poacher. He's got a good head on him, and Fabinho did well to keep the ball alive, getting it back across. How big are those two goals that he got against Leeds for the rest of the season?
Tremendous. He's a confidence player, as we can see. Once he gets the first one in, he kind of smells that blood in the water and just wants to keep going at it. Credit to him for keeping his head up, and even though he was unsuccessful for over a year in netting a goal, he still kept at it through injury and working himself back into fitness. And we've seen the results of his own confidence as well as Klopp's confidence in him and continuing to start him in these lineups. And 4 goals in the past 2 matches, you can't really you can't complain at all. I know it took him a while in the Leeds match. He was pretty poor for the first half against Leeds, but since then he's been on it. For today, he completed 24 out of his 26 passes. You can't, that's near perfect there. Shot accuracy, on target 3 out of the 4 he took, and contributing both on offense and defense. He's a relentless presser, which is something that the team appreciates and Klopp appreciates in his forward line. And I think it bodes very well for us, not only for our short-term success and him obviously scoring for us, but perhaps, as been mentioned a number of times, perhaps he might be moving in the summer for a high price to kind of accommodate any additional moves that Liverpool needs to do for the rebuild.
We talk about how we're scoring, and we're scoring quite free at the moment, and we've got 6 against Leeds, a couple against Arsenal, 3 today. It's not the scoring that's been the problem this season, it's been the defending. And again today, no clean sheet for Alisson, but again, he's got to look at the people in front of him again. Once again, Andy Robertson, for me, has dropped off an absolute cliff. And his drop-off has cost many goals this season, many goals. And again, in the first goal for Forest, I'm going to break down both goals separately. The first goal, the amount of space Nico Williams got given to shoot, and as a defender, the first thing you've got to do is shut down your man, make sure you don't get a shot off. And yes, it was deflection. It was lucky in the end that it was unlucky for Alisson, but you can't let them get the shot off that easily. And Andy Robertson is culpable for that. Do you think he should be dropping Andy Robertson now?
I wouldn't drop Andy. I think he's probably a little bit more suited to what we're currently doing formation wise than Costas might be. I wouldn't necessarily drop him, perhaps give him a blow here and there. I know we put so many miles on his legs the past 5-6 seasons that, he's still standing. It's pretty much a miracle with all the running he and Trent do on the flanks there. But with him, again, it's a matter of how aggressive is he trying to be. I think he kind of gets himself stuck in bad positions on being aggressive. I think he was way too narrow on that throw in. And once the ball got rotated over to Nico on the right side, he was just miles away from him to make up that ground. And again, the shot didn't look on target up until it got deflected past Alisson there. So quite unfortunate. I was hoping for a clean sheet today to kind of spur on Alisson to kind of get the golden gloves there for the season. But just way too narrow. But just as Andy can give, Andy can take away, Andy can give. He was there providing the assist for Diogo's second goal, which was a well-placed pass from a set piece. Great touch by Diogo in the box to a couple of touches to slot it then with his left foot. So, while we can critique him, there are very few left backs in world football who are Andy Robertson's level. So I don't think he should be dropped.
If you are watching after that boring first half, incredible second half, complete Jekyll and Hyde game, please give a like and a subscribe if you haven't done already. And if you want to let us know your comments in the comment section, if you want to let us know players' ratings, if you want to let us know your thoughts on the game, who disappointed you, who impressed for you, just give us a comment in the thing, and we will try to get as many up as we can and reply to them as well. Going on to the second goal for Forest as well. Again, I'm going to talk about a certain John Henderson. This guy at the moment is stealing a living for Liverpool Football Club. He's not stealing a living; he's a footballer, but he's not Liverpool standard at the moment. And it's at time people start recognising that, and it's time Jurgen Klopp started recognising that most and foremost, because he is holding us back. And that second goal, right, for me, as you can use your legs, you can lose your ability as a footballer, but you should never lose your awareness on the pitch, especially if you're a midfielder. And for him to not see people behind him constantly, and then this happens quite often. It happened against was it Arsenal? It might have been Arsenal's second goal, where there's just complete space in the box for a player to shoot, and Henderson's there messing around, ball watching, and it pisses me off, Rigo. It pisses me off because we're conceding stupid goals because of just lack of awareness. There's no excuse for lack of awareness. No excuse for lack of awareness. I've got eyes, you've got eyes, and we can see the same thing. We'd say the same thing in a football match. So, is there an excuse for Henderson at all for him to start anymore?
To me, no, unfortunately. I mean, besides his standing as far as a club legend and being the captain, unfortunately, he's not, as you said, not at the levels that we need. Not only defensively, where he's constantly giving up his man, pawning it off to somebody else, and then yelling and blaming them for whatever happens after that. And not just that, but also on the offensive end, where we're creating passes or creating opportunities, and he just doesn't have the legs to get to those balls. Just doesn't have that final physical oomph to kind of get that last touch or sprint, either on the defensive or offensive end. And again, with him, you would expect, a player getting older, you become a little bit more tactically sound, tactically aware, because you don't have the physical attributes anymore. So you kind of have to do the mental aspect a little, be on point with that a little bit more. And unfortunately, I feel like that's gone down as well. And I wouldn't say disappointing, but the thing that unfortunately, while he definitely fails the eye test, as far as stats are concerned, and as far as those ratings are concerned, when you pull up, when you review a match and you're looking at the counting stats, he always grades out pretty well. And I think that's a lot because, again, he plays it safe. He doesn't really take that many chances. And when he it connects the pass wrong or puts it in the wrong place, it gets blamed more on the other player as opposed to on him. Like, for example, looking at his ratings for today, 7.5 rating, connected on 89% of his passes, 47 out of 53, one chance created. I mean, that doesn't look horrible at all, right? You would think he's doing his job, but unfortunately, if you watch the entire match, he's putting his teammates in positions that they have to bail him out, or else the team pays consequences.
People who see eye testers as one way to look at it, people who see stats as one way to look at it, are completely wrong. Completely wrong. It's both together. You need to watch a whole 90 minutes. You need to watch the full. Not even 90 minutes. You can watch half an hour and still decide what you think about a player. You can't just base it off stats and, like you said, 89% completed. Half of those going backwards. So it's not hard to play a pass backwards to 4 players that are behind you who've got no one marking them. And when you're not taking risks playing forward, then you're going to have a high percentage in passing success. And it seems to be the case for our midfielders at the moment. It seems to be the case. It seems to be play safe constantly. Play safe constantly. And this is why we can't create fuck all until someone creative comes on the pitch. This is why Trent Alexander-Arnold's having to fucking move into midfield. Because the 3 that are in there don't do fuck all for creativity. They're dead pass forward. So they can have their 90% stats. To me, it doesn't mean jack shit. It doesn't mean jack shit unless it ends in a win and a goal with their stats. I'd rather Thiago play for the 6 passes that he makes off accuracy, and the 2 passes that I do make are led into goals. You know what I'm saying? It's so frustrating knowing that we've got these midfielders and knowing that this should have been sorted in the summer. But what can you do? What can you do? It's up to Klopp now to start fucking playing players that can fucking pass the ball forward. It's up to Klopp now to start playing players that can progress the ball forward. Because if he doesn't, these 7 games, it might be on paper look easy, but these 7 games could be made hard. We're made hard today by Forest. A team we should be smashing at home, by the way. A team we should be smashing at home, and we made it look harder than what it needed to be. Because
I think at this point, unfortunately, I don't know how many more options Klopp has to call upon. I think Naby is still out, and again, he's leaving in a matter of months. So I don't know how much Klopp is the relationship.
So with Thiago back now, he's got to start him, hasn't he?
Thiago's still coming off injury, and again, you don't want to. The issue we ran into, we overplayed him last time, and he was gone for over a month. The surprising thing to me is again with this evolution that we've seen in the past 2.5 matches, is the player that has played every single match up until then hasn't sniffed the pitch at all, and that's Harvey Elliott. Are you surprised at all that he hasn't made an appearance? I would have expected him, perhaps even today, to start instead of Henderson, just because we are anticipating a low block and a lot of players behind the ball, and he's definitely one of our more creative players. So I kind of would have expected him.
I don't think that he's not playing though at the moment, because he got man of match, didn't he, against Wolves in the cup, and then he got dropped the game after. I think that pretty much sums up Klopp at the moment, what he's doing with his squad selection. I don't think it's the first time in a while that he's picked the same team as Monday, and I don't think it was the right pick, if I'm honest. I don't. I think Curtis Jones sort of wanted to start. He played well. Jota wanted to start, but I think Núñez deserves a start. I think Thiago needs to be back in. He needs to be back in. It needs to be back in, because we can't do that midfield. Let's go on to the goals anyway. Let's go on to some bit of positivity, Riga. We did get another goal through Diogo Jota. Again, put us 2-1 up. A brilliant touch. It was brilliant touch and turn and finish and back to his best. Is it, how we're seeing now? Do you think he's cemented a place for the rest of the 7 games? But with Diaz coming back and Núñez still pushing for a start, do you think Jota can actually
I think the one thing you need to do is you ride the hot hand, and just like Klopp kind of did the same and running out the same lineup from Monday's win against Leeds, you need to keep Diogo Jota in the lineup up until he cools off. At least if he's giving us 2 goals a match, I don't think we want to take him off the pitch. So I definitely let him on. He's on a hot streak now. 4-2, and we definitely need the goals. As you've seen, teams are going to defend in the low block against us. Teams know we're desperate to get these points, and luckily enough, our run-in towards the end of the season is some of the lesser teams in the Premier League. So they're definitely scrapping. The relegation battle at the bottom of the table is one of the most furious ones we've seen in a number of years. It's definitely crabs in the bucket there, with up to 8 crabs fighting relegation there. So it's going to be difficult, and you ride the hot hand as long as you can. So I definitely keep Diogo in. It's very frustrating for me to see Darwin not play. I'm a huge fan of Darwin. I feel he creates and does things every time he's on the pitch. But based on some of the comments by Klopp in the press conference, I think he's still betting Darwin in. He's again referenced the communication issues with Darwin not knowing English. So I think there's still some growing pains going there. I thought he was hitting a good patch prior to the international break, but since then he's primarily been used off the bench, and I think it's one of two ways as well. I think he knows with Nunez off the bench, he has a spark plug he can bring on in case he needs goals, in case he needs action, and again with a player like Jota and Gakpo again there for the control, I think he's kind of counting on them more for the initial onset and hoping they can get a goal or two prior to getting subbed off.
Then we move to the king, the Egyptian king.
Saved our ass.
One of the most underrated Premier League players of history, and put some respect on this lad's name. Put some absolute respect on this lad's name. And whether you're a rival fan, whether you're a Liverpool fan, this guy deserves his peas. Mohamed Salah constantly scores, constantly turns up, constantly saves Liverpool. If anyone from this era has that Gerrard impact, the one that can drag a team, it is Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah is the reason why we can continue to push for these top 4, for these trophies every single year. Yes, we have Van Dijk, incredible signing. Alisson, incredible signing. These two players sort of turned us from top 4 to trophy hunters. However, Mohamed Salah is the best player of the Jurgen Klopp era. For me, he's the best player behind Steven Gerrard in Liverpool's history. I was not lucky enough to see likes of Kenny Dalglish. I saw probably the last part of Ian Rush before he retired. But for me, from what I've seen, Mohamed Salah is just the guy, and let's put this guy on a pedestal where he deserves to be. This guy is just everything to me right now. It is everything that makes what Liverpool do and makes Liverpool tick. If he doesn't score, if he doesn't play well, I feel like we're struggling to get any points at all. Again, saved us. Top 4 is on because of this lad. He finally going to get the deserved plaudits that he deserves?
I think he never will, unfortunately. And that, I think, has a lot to do where he's from. And again, not being English, I don't think he'll get the plaudits. He's still, he definitely doesn't get that respect from the officials, the referees that a player of his stature, of his talent should. If his name was Mark Salad and he was British instead, he'd definitely get a lot more respect and a lot more plaudits and respect.
He still get picked by Gareth, to be honest. He still won't get picked by Southgate, if I'm honest. He wouldn't.
But he's definitely saved our bacon numerous times throughout the years. He is our number one offensive player. But to me, I think our player of the season is still Alisson. I think he saved. He's definitely kept us in this fight for top 4. But if we're going 1-2, they're both right there 1-2 as far as our most important players for Liverpool.
And as well as Mohamed Salah, another player that doesn't get the credit he deserves, Mr. Alexander-Arnold. The cross again, pinpoint, absolutely pinpoint. A brilliant finish by Mohamed Salah, by the way, on the volley. But the cross, it just sets up everything, doesn't it? This guy, Let me ask you this, Rigo. Does Trent Alexander-Arnold have a better right foot than David Beckham?
Yeah, to me. Why not? I'll say yes, just because obviously he's a Liverpool player. I've seen more of Trent than I have of David Beckham throughout the years. So I'll put Trent right up there with anyone swinging it in from the right, and especially now, he's been unleashed a little bit more today. Again, last match he was over 127 passes completed. This match he only completed 44. They again were man marking him from the beginning of the match, so not as much action for him, but put it on a plate for Mohamed there to bang it in and steal the victory for us today. So after a quiet couple of months to begin the year, he's definitely awakened and is reminding everyone of his talent. I don't think anyone's questioning his defensive acumen, at least the past two matches. He's been very crucial in turning the ball over in the middle of the pitch, being there further up the pitch to kind of close out any counters. And Konate has been just absolutely immense. He's one of the players that we definitely need healthy. He does so much cleaning up and mopping up, and is the more aggressive of the two center backs that we have now. Virgil, as a curious call in the chat here, Virgil seems a little bit more hesitant to stick his foot in, and Konate is always there to muscle up, stick a boot, or just completely just demolish any players trying to attack us. So looking good. I think we're definitely crying out for some talent injection, namely at the two spots that Jones and Henderson are currently occupying. Fabinho has been back to his levels. I think I haven't heard a single complaint about Fabinho, which is par for the course, what it's been throughout the majority of his career here. Quite an unsung player, but mopping up and making things easier for his teammates. Today, he got an assist for Diogo's first goal. Again, heading the ball over for that tap in. So things are looking positive, and hopefully we can carry this on and seal top four.
3 points is 3 points. When we won the league, we didn't do everything amazing every week. In fact, most weeks it was scrappy. Most weeks we had to grind that victory out. And that seemed a bit like today. And there's 7 games left now. I feel like it doesn't really matter about the performance because we just need the victory. The 3 points every single week. And deep this, Rigo, I thought about this last night when Arsenal drew and seemed to be turning Spursy as it seems is Arsenal, and there was a lot of quite cocky Arsenal fans before this said, we can match what Liverpool did, and it's tough, isn't it, Arsenal? It's very, very tough to keep up with this Liverpool side, this City side, because when this City side turn on at this time of the season, you cannot slip out. You slip up once, they fucking punish you. I'm telling you now.
And again, the comparisons from the Arsenal squads, again, their point totals are way off at the heights of what Man City and Liverpool were doing while we were battling to see who scored the first to 100. And the highest points that Arsenal could get, I think, is maybe like 92 or something like that. So that's still way below the levels that even last year the title race was at. So it's quite difficult going up against the juggernaut that is Man City. They're, I believe, winning 1-0 now in their FA Cup tie, and often other penalties. They get so many penalties, it's ridiculous. Hopefully now, perhaps that a London club has gone up against Manchester City, a team that's facing over 100 separate financial charges. Maybe now we'll get a little bit more complaining, a little bit more juice behind getting, those sort of clubs either out or financial fair play to have a little more teeth as far as what they currently do, because it's outrageous. This is driving the prices up for everyone. Now you have Chelsea buying up every single player as well. We've seen how awful that's turned out for them. Thankfully, they're not spending it wisely, but it's driving up the market, and again, it's making that Mount Everest that much taller to win the PL when you have a team like Man City.
Big up Jen, a regular viewer of our channel and a very good contributor for our channel as well, keeping our channel alive single-handedly at times. I'm glad to see you back because we did have a visit from John Henry's ghost the other night in our stream the other night. So I'm glad to see you back with your beautiful comments and saying big up to me and Rigo. Much appreciated as per every single week. Let's deep this then, Rigo. If Liverpool do get top four, it's a big if, but if they do get top four, and Arsenal, a team that's been top for so long, and practically should have won the league at that point. They should have won the league. They had the league in their hands. If they come second, Liverpool and Arsenal could have a similar outcome at the end of the season. How does that feel?
That's perfectly fine with me. As long as we finish in top four with Champions League guaranteed. Again, it bodes us very well for our big summer that we have lined up, where hopefully we have a big influx of talent coming in. It would be hugely disappointing for the Arsenal fans. Obviously, they've been waiting for quite a while since their last title run. But again, it's a marathon. These 38 matches is definitely a marathon, and you can't be giving up draws after being up 2-0 in consecutive matches. Quite admirable on their part, and clawing back to 3-3. Kind of felt they might have snuck out a 4-3 win there at the end with all the pressure that they were putting the team under. But it's going to be very interesting on Wednesday. That's for sure. It's definitely a title match. If they don't come out there victorious, I think their title hopes are absolutely done. But for a Liverpool perspective, and I know on our group chat here at the LFC Transfer Room, we have quite a few, probably the overwhelming majority, that would actually prefer Man City win the Premier League as opposed to Arsenal, just for the simple fact that we'd be the only team to knock Man City down from their perch. And again, it makes it that much more special what Klopp and the boys have done these past few seasons. Where do you stand on that? Would you prefer Man City win it or Arsenal take the trophy?
It's a double-edged sword, is that? It's a hard one to pick because I don't like Man City's the way they've come about, and they've financially cheated basically and took over that way and won a league title off shame and dirty money. But, and this is a big but, if there's a possibility of them taking over Manchester United's treble-winning team, right, and if Man United fans can throw out their treble-winning team as the best team of all time in the Premier League, then I'm all for it. I'm absolutely all for it. You know what? I've never really wanted City to win the Champions League because I think it's funny that they haven't, and I think it's funny that Pep Guardiola can't do it without Messi and that Barcelona side.
That definitely, I don't want them to win the CL.
But my hatred to Man United means more to me. My hatred to Man United is more than I don't give a shit about City winning the Champions League. That's how much it makes to me. And I think just if City did win the treble, I think those Man United fans have no leg to stand on him. They cannot say they're the treble winning side, but they're only treble side. They're no longer their own treble winning side. And I'll tell you one thing: this Man City team have took levels that they completely wipe Manchester United's treble winning side away. Because this Man City team has done levels over the past 4, 5, 6 seasons. Complete levels above Manchester United. So that in itself, I am hoping City do the treble more than. But if Arsenal win it, fair play to them if they win it for me. Absolutely fair play to them. They've really got together and stuck together and really pushed this title. Thank you again, Jen. As I said earlier, you are single-handedly keeping this channel alive. And we will return everything back to you in terms of whether it's through entertainment, because we've got so much planned for this channel now, so much planned for this channel. We are pushing this channel to be one of the best around, and we'll make sure that you are rewarded for doing so, for what you have done. And thank you so much for keeping up your generosity. absolute generosity in times of struggles like this as well. But yeah, 3 points. We move. 7 more games left. Can Liverpool get top 4? Are you hoping a bit more than more in recent weeks? Do you think the percentage of chance has gone up? And what do you make of tomorrow's game between Newcastle and Tottenham?
For Newcastle and Tottenham, that's a tough one. Both teams haven't been playing all that well recently. Newcastle kind of stumbled for quite a bit there after their long undefeated streak. But I just of history alone, I expect the Spurs to Spurs it, and Newcastle will come out victorious. Unfortunately, from a Liverpool perspective, we'd actually probably want the Spurs to win because Newcastle currently is sitting in 4th, and again, just because history, we expect the Spurs to F it up. So draw probably will be acceptable. Spurs win probably is what we would favor, just for the simple fact it keeps them at 56, with us at 50, kind of charging right at them. So I'd rather the Spurs take out a victory tomorrow, even though that would put them in a 56 all tie for 4th place. But Spurs at that point would have 2 games, be at 32 matches, and they would only have 6 matches remaining. So for tomorrow and tomorrow alone, I'm a Spurs fan.
The thing I can't take, Vigo, is I accept that we've been absolutely shit this season, like really bad. Apart from 1 or 2 games every now and then, like the Leeds one, Man United one, Bournemouth one. But I can't take that we are behind Spurs. I can't take it. I can't take we're behind Spurs. Spurs are fucking dreadful. They are dreadful. I'm not having us finish behind Spurs. There's no way on this earth we are worse than Spurs. There's no way. I'm not accepting that for shit. Spurs would have not a chance of beating Man United 7. They don't even have a chance of beating Man United 1-0. They're not on our level as Spurs, but they're above us.
Well, the good thing is on April 30th we have a chance to put them back in their place.
We do. And if we fluff that, honestly, because at Anfield recently, we just haven't seemed bothered. I don't know if it's the crowd or if it's just it's complacency from the teams. Until the Xhaka incident against Arsenal, we just looked an absolute mess of ourselves, and we couldn't be asked. And the crowd were the same. The crowd was silent.
Mm-hmm.
And again today, the first half, it was just dreadful. I don't know what's going on in that stadium at the moment. I don't know what's going on with us. And you can see it affect the players when the stadium's like that, because it just feeds into their misery. They need that. I'm not saying they need Anfield to play well, but sometimes they do. Sometimes they need that little boost, and we saw it against Arsenal, that little boost from the crowd, and a complete different team that turned up in the second half. And as soon as Diogo Jota scored today, again, that boost, we got a completely different second half again. But how important, because I think we've got, is it like 5 of the 7 matches left at home? How important is that Anfield crowd now to really kick on now in the season and become the 12th man again?
It's absolutely huge. I think that they're the 12th man and can play a pivotal role. And you hear from all the away players that how tough Anfield is to play in, and when it's rocking. And if we want to secure top 4, I think it's absolutely necessary that the decibel levels are through the roof, even though there isn't really a roof over there at Anfield, are through the roof. Just for the simple fact, it does help the players. It does, it put the away players in a better position as far as communication, and not just that. We can see just yesterday's match. Or the day before on Thursday, Sevilla versus Man United. The Sevilla crowd was just absolutely rollicking the entire match, and you saw how Man U crumbled at the end there, losing 3-0. And I think that's what we need every single match going forward. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the remaining 7 matches are at Anfield. The only ones that are away actually are West Ham and Leicester. So we have Tottenham, we have Fulham, Brentford, and Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've worked it
I
out,
was missing
Riga.
the last game of the season. Southampton. We're away at
Southampton.
Southampton to close
Yeah.
out the year.
I've worked it out. I've worked it out why this when you said they blew the roof off. That's what the crowd do at Anfield. They usually blow the roof off. And if we do blow the roof off, then FSG will have to spend their money elsewhere on a new roof. We need midfielders in the summer. Can we afford to buy a new roof? The Anfield crowd is playing 4D chess at the moment. They have no choice but to keep that roof on. We've seen today our midfield, how shit it is. If we ruin our transfer budget with a new roof, then we're just giving FSG excuse after the excuse. We've already given FSG an excuse there. Do you have any faith in next season then, Riga? Can we even if we don't get top four, can we finish on a high and take it into next season?
100%. I think we're finally seeing Klopp kind of realizing I need to change stuff up. I'd obviously love for him to have other options besides Henderson. At the moment, unfortunately, I think he just has to play Henderson. So what can we do? Other players that we would have liked to fill his shoes, but Sachit's out for the year. Keita, we're not counting on. Ox, not counting on at all. Elliott, again, I'm surprised he hasn't featured at all the past two matches. I think he could do what Henderson's doing on that right side very well. I think connecting, forming that triangle between Salah, Trent, and Elliott would be, quite incredible on the right, especially with our tactical changes kind of covering up more for Trent moving to midfield. I think that would be great. And as we know, you and I know at least, Henderson offers nothing on the defensive end and very minimal on the offensive end. So I think Elliott, is more suited for what we're doing now than what he was pegged in to do for the season before, up until now during this season. For the summer, though, if we're looking at the summer, obviously, regardless whether we finish top four or not, I think we're getting a European spot. I don't think we drop out of the top six. So we do have one tournament, an additional tournament to play for next season, even if it's not Champions League football. But as far as incomings are concerned, I think minimum 2, if not 3 mids are absolutely needed. Left-footed center back would be great. And if Calvin Ramsey is too far off, I think we still need right back coverage if it's not going to be Gomez. I still think Gomez can provide that right back coverage when needed and have center back more of his backup position as opposed to his number one position that he's expected to play. I think he's done very well as a right back for us. But big summer ahead. I do know making the rounds today on Twitter is Jude isn't done yet, and Klopp still holds out.
That is a swear word on the channel now, Riga. That is now a swear word on the channel. I'm not speaking about Jude until something is solid. Now I'm done writing about the dick.
Oh, where'd you go? Ran out of battery? Damn it, just dropped.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Right, so yeah, I'm
wake up and come out and then a whole different background would be behind you.
Just hearing Jude Bellingham, that just cuts my camera off straight away. That's what it does now. It just shuts me down. I just don't want to talk about Jude Bellingham until it happens, if it does happen.
Oh, but speaking of targets, one that I'm very happy that we're seeing again is Crepin Saram. And that would be absolutely just diabolical if he's been playing on the left side a lot more recently for his current club Nice, and him taking Curtis Jones' spot on that left side would just be absolutely bananas. He's even played on the left wing. That's how talented he is. So that's one link that I'm very happy of.
Yep. Before we go, Riga, one more question. And chat, you can answer it as well. Riga, do we make top 4?
with the run of matches that we have, with, in my opinion, Tottenham, Villa because of their shape, and Brentford just because Thomas Frank always has his team prepared. I think only 3 out of the 7 I would consider tough matches. I think we can run the table, quite honestly, and win. Right now it would be 9 straight if you include Leeds and today's win to close out the year. And if we do so, I think we secure top 4. So I will go and say we secure top 4.
You heard it here first. Liverpool will make top 4. Newcastle, Tottenham, Villa, Brentford, Brighton. You've got a lot of work to do to stop this Liverpool team. If they can find their groove, we've got 7 winnable games. 7 very winnable games if we can find that groove. Today, we were shit. Absolute shit, but we've got the 3 points. We were, won't we, Vigo? We were shit. Even in the second half, we're shit. I know we scored 3 goals, but we're shit. We're shit all game. But we've got the 3 points, and that's what matters. And if we can continue that vein, that ruthlessness, that especially Jota back in form, Nunes back, Diaz back, Salah's still scoring, Gakpo's playing well. Tottenham, Newcastle, Brighton, Brentford, they all need to think like Arsenal right now, and they can't afford to drop points. Arsenal can't afford to drop points in the title. These cannot afford to drop points. Jen, thank you for commenting again, but I did say that is a swear word in this space, and I do apologise for any swear words going on in that. Jude is a banned word right now on the last transfer room. So if we do go forward with that mentality that we've had in recent games, then be wary for the rest of them, because that top 4 is still on for Liverpool. Slim hopes, but at least it's hopes.
Slim, but we're still fighting and scrapping, and it gives us more to fight for, more to play for as we get to the end of the season. Definitely, we've been lower than we have been now. We've been as low as 10th, I believe, on the table. So having us in 6th or 7th, actually, not ideal, but we'll get there. And hopefully, the team that I want to see make a precipitous drop is Manchester United.
That's perfect. If they dropped out and we got top 4, that would be the perfect end for a shit cake. That'd be like eating the worst dinner ever, but having a great dessert.
Yeah, that would be the sweetener.
But then throwing up your dessert when you get back, because you just had that bad of a dinner. You got food poison from the dinner. You're just going to throw it back for dessert anyway. But at least you enjoyed it for a minute.
They're trouble hopes. Didn't they have trouble hopes or
quadruple hopes, mate?
Quadruple. Oh shoot, I forgot about one. I forgot there's Europa. But that would be my dream if they drop off.
Get out.
I wouldn't mind Newcastle and Liverpool getting the 3rd and 4th, whichever order.
That'd be perfect. Let's end on there then, Rigo. Thanks for everyone coming on. Jen, thank you for the pay again. Incredible gestures, incredible contribution what you do for us. Make sure you leave just Rigo, the person there. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. Follow our Twitter pages, follow our podcast. Me and Rigo, I've got a special guest on next week on Tuesday's podcast. We'll keep updated on news for you. We'll keep updated on the transfers for you. We'll do our jobs for you, and we'll make sure this channel is as entertaining as we can make it for you guys. And let's hope Liverpool continue to win for us to be happy to do that, because happy people make better work, and that's as simple as that. Thanks for going on, Rigo, mate, and up the Reds. 3-2, top 4's on.
Let's go.